Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. I want to talk about the ontology of Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about the ramifications and the implications of not understanding what Dungeons and Dragons is and what lacunas of knowledge it creates. And specifically, we're going to talk about Rudy over on Alpha Investments. So let's jump into this. All right. So you know me, Scott Garibay. All right, I have a unique view of Dungeons and Dragons. I don't think anybody in the entire world shares my view of Dungeons and Dragons. That's okay, because nobody's had my life. Nobody's had my vantage. I see something because I'm in a unique position. I started playing Dungeons and Dragons in 1982. I have never looked away. I just have watched Dungeons and Dragons since 1982. I came onto Magic the Gathering in 1993, and I never looked away from that, right? And so I think I'm one of the few people in the world who is an American and has watched the history firsthand. And I mean buying product, playing both games, literally every single day they existed except 1974 to 1982, right? For Dungeons & Dragons. But I've been there every step of the way on Magic the Gathering. And not in a small way. Like, Magic the Gathering has been a huge portion of my life. My oldest son, we spent like 10 years going to F&M every single Friday night, playing every single pre-release, and even playing at the PTQ level. Okay, I played in Magic the Gathering Worlds in like 1995 at Gen Con. Right, I've been there, right, and so, I've been watching this, and so here's the thing. So, in my humble opinion, Dungeons & Dragons is not a game. It is a human improvement engine created by Gary Gygax, and it has many accomplishments. Its greatest accomplishment, in my humble opinion, is Dungeons & Dragons fundamentally reformed narrative for all of humanity, for all the future, and we're at the inception of this, right? And so I have this strong belief, right? And I know I'm the only one who thinks this right now, right? But I'm convinced that people are catching. I can see it already. People are catching it up and saying, "Oh my gosh, Dungeons and Dragons is more than a game." That's already happening, right? They're not on the same track as me exactly, but they're heading in the same direction, right? So, Dungeons & Dragons, people don't understand what it is. It's not a game. It's far more than that. Gary Gygax, in my humble opinion, created it as far more than that. So when you don't understand that, you get really bad misunderstandings, and that's exactly what's happening, in my opinion, with Rudy from Alpha Investments. So I'm going to link Rudy's video below, Alpha Investment, and this is like, if you don't know Rudy, I've known Rudy for years. I don't know Rudy. I have watched Alpha Investment for years, right? And what he is he treats Magic cards like stocks, right? He tracks the values and has made a very robust business considering Magic the Gathering cards like stocks, right? And he is incredibly frustrated now. He's pulling his hair out right now, and he is not having a good time. And if you watch that video below, bear market, baby, right? It's hard time. It's hard out there. It's hard out there, right? And right now we're coming out of the Great Pandemic, right? And it's brutal. And he's saying, oh, those, you can see it. Like, he's probably made like $1 million plus on Magic cards over the last 10, 20 years. But right now he's like, those idiots over at over at Wizards of the Coast, how dare they not handle a global, a 100-year, 1 century global plague well? I could have done it better, right? And you get this all over. People are like, all there is a broken global distribution system, right? And every company's on the verge of going out of business. How come you didn't print my Magic cards better? Like, okay, buddy. Sorry, you're like, talk about the number one, first world problem ever. Okay, and he's upset. He's like, and the reason why he's upset is he doesn't know anything about Magic the Gathering at this point. And the reason why is if you look at the history of Magic the Gathering, and you can go read Ben Grimm's, you know, Slaying the Dragon, right? And he will tell you, Dungeons and Dragons has been there from the gate, right? Magic doesn't have an independent history from Dungeons and Dragons. The dude who created Magic the Gathering and brought it into the world, right? And Richard Garfield, but really Richard Garfield had an idea. Peter Atkinson brought it to life, right? Like, you know, so Peter Atkinson, he wanted Dungeons and Dragons from 1993. The moment the game came out, he always had Dungeons and Dragons in his head, right? He was heading toward owning the Dungeons and Dragons from the gate. And the second he had $60 million, he purchased Dungeons and Dragons. He didn't buy a yacht. He bought the most valuable thing he could get, right? Because he's a narrative guy. He saw Magic the Gathering makes money like crazy, right? And Peter Atkins, it wasn't enough for Peter Atkins. He was not like the fantasy of American, you know, the future of American fantasy is Magic Gathering. He knew it was nothing. He knew it was a profit engine. He knew it was money, right? But what's not money is D&D. D&D has a momentum, a creative momentum that it is the dragon. It is the dragon. Dungeons and Dragons is the dragon, and it has eaten the suits. It is a product that can own the company it's in, right? TSR had it first. Wizards of the Coast had it for a minute. Hasbro has it now. TSR, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, they're the chaff. Dungeons and Dragons will outlive them all, okay? The reality is Hasbro's just a toy company. I love what they're doing. They're the best Guardian they've ever had. But the reality is D&D is more valuable than them. It really is. D&D they're a multi-billion-dollar global company. Who cares? There's 50 multi-billion-dollar global companies that you don't even know the name of. They don't matter. We have reached a point in humanity where money does not matter the way it used to. Relevance, culture, being able to impact politics, religion, and culture all at the same time, that matters. That's why Elon Musk, a billionaire, found his way onto SNL, because he knew, I don't want to be just another schmuck billionaire like Jeff Bezos who nobody cares about, right? I want to be likable. I want to be part of the mix. I want to have culture. I want to impact culture, right? And that's why Elon is buying Twitter, because he knows it impacts culture, right? So here's what Rudy from Alpha Investments doesn't understand. Magic Gathering is nothing but a D&D supplement now. It makes more money than D&D, but it doesn't have any cultural relevance, right? And that's the issue, is D&D is real. It is a creative force. It impacts politics, religion, and culture for the globe. It is name checked by more shows than are not at this point. It's everywhere. It's on the front lines of the streaming services, right? And so Rudy, over on Alpha Investments, doesn't understand the most powerful fundamental part of Magic the Gathering, that it was born from D&D, right? Peter Atkinson was excited about Magic, and just like Gygax was like, oh my gosh, my mind is blown by Tolkien. I'm going to take what Tolkien did and I'm going to catapult it to the sky. And that's what he did. That's what D&D is. It's systematized Tolkien, right? And that's all Magic is. It's D&D on cards. Woo! And the Ouroboros is there, right? The snake is eating its tail. That's the issue. And this guy who knows everything about Magic cards doesn't understand it's just a D&D supplement at this point. Dungeons & Dragons is eating the world. Everything is connecting to Dungeons & Dragons. Legos, Fortnite, Magic the Gathering, Yahtzee, right? Now that my mind is clicked into understanding the intellectual property expansion that Dungeons & Dragons is doing, you don't know this. Dungeons & Dragons is part of Yahtzee, and Yahtzee has connected worlds to Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, exactly. Like, and I'm telling you, I'm the only one tracking this right now, and I'm begging you guys to pay attention, right? Because what's at stake? Literally, okay? We've been telling these silly little stories we drew on cave walls, right? I get it. Cave wall paintings were cool, right? But here's the thing, right? We moved on to the novel, and cave wall paintings were no longer there. The novel is the cave wall painting now, right? We are saying, okay, you built your world. Great. How does it connect to 50 other worlds, right? And we are right now at the start of telling stories that have Phoebe Buffay and Gretchen Twitchwillow and Dritz Do'Urden and, and Luke Skywalker and the Emperor from Warhammer 40K, right? And people are like, that's fan fiction. No, that is the future of human narrative. It is the future of human narrative to connect things that don't naturally connect, right? And there's an entire there's an entire form of storytelling that is coming. And guess who's on the front line? The front line is Dungeons and Dragons and every Dungeon Master and every Dungeons and Dragons player out there. Please see this. Open your eyes. It's happening. It's real, right? And it just frustrates me that so many people are missing it. They're not seeing it's like you bought a hamburger and it came in a solid gold carton, right? And I'm telling you, don't throw the carton away. Do not throw the carton away. We are here. Gary gonged human narrative. And we're still dealing with the echoes now. Don't cover your ears. That's my humble opinion. I'm eager to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you I get so excited. I'm so excited. We took a $60 million loss this week, but I am super hyped, right? And I hope Rudy realizes the reason he's struggling to sell his magic cards is he does not fundamentally know what they are. Yep. They're the future of human narrative. You print it on a magic card, you just connect it to every story that Dungeons & Dragons ever told. That's my humble opinion. I'm eager to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.